This week on Cartoon Dumpster Dive, we cover the movie The Year Without a Santa Claus. Joel.
Yes, Andrew.
This is possibly going to be out on the weekend, right?
Yes, it should
To
be.
fulfill our promise of missing last week, we were going to have a double feature. So we got that going for us.
Yep.
So enjoy this late week ending of Cartoon Dumpster Dive.
Yes. The
Unless you're
nightcap.
listening to this
The
way
nightcap.
later. Yeah, unless you're listening to this later in the year or in life. And then, hello. Welcome to this time is not important episode of Cartoon Dumpster Dive.
Guten Tag.
I wish I knew Pakistani for hello, because they're actually still our second place listening country.
Dude. Yeah, I don't even know anybody who would be able to tell me that. Maybe Google.
Yeah. Google, possibly. Joel, I was actually kind of surprised when I was telling people that they did not hear about this one, because I feel like this is, outside of Rudolph and Frosty, this is one of the more known
Okay.
Christmas specials. What'd you feel about the songs in this one? Since we can't rate a theme song, let's talk about the soundtrack.
So with this one, I had never seen this movie in my life.
Okay.
But I did not realize that I'm Mr. White Christmas.
Yeah. The
I'm
Misers.
Mr. Snow. I did not
That's from this
realize
movie?
that this was from this movie. When that came on, I was like, oh, awesome.
Yeah, I know. It was I think last year they had a TikTok trend of people doing it.
Really?
Like singing it. Yeah, there was like people dressing up and like singing it. There was, I think it was either the year, 2 years before or last year, the Miser Brothers songs got really popular. And there's one video out on YouTube of this guy who, you know how people like over decorate their house and have music playing with it.
Yeah.
He does both the Miser Brothers. And it's the only time I think that Heat Miser has ever won a popularity contest when it comes, because when his song comes up, fire flows from a fountain in his house, and I'm like, what the fuck?
That's actually pretty cool.
This is a residential home.
What? I hope you spoke to your HOA about this.
Like, hey, Becky, you still in charge of the HOA? Yeah, well, buckle up, because my house is getting fucking real this year for Christmas.
I need you to approve this approval for pyrotechnic or what do they call them?
Pyrotechnics.
Yeah, I need you to
I don't
approve
think we
this.
can do this. Well, too late. I'll eat the fine.
I'm sorry, Becky. It's already happening.
Yeah, you want to tell me what the fine for being rad as fuck is? Because I'm gladly willing to pay that, you shrivelly old cunt. Fuck you. And then he walks off, because I feel like anyone who almost sets their house on fire for Christmas is unhinged.
Yes, they are. And
But yeah, so you like the Miser song is really the Miser songs are really the only songs that are good in this one.
Yeah, honestly,
and I feel like Snow Misers, and I also have a headcanon reason why their songs are so similar,
Okay.
but I feel like Snow Miser's song is better than Heat Miser's.
yeah,
And I always in the movie, I thought, because they're such rivals, but everybody likes Snow Miser. Even in the movie,
Yep.
Heat Miser complains about how much everyone loves Snow Miser more than anyone. And I think that the reason their songs are so similar is Heat Miser heard Snow Miser's song. He goes, well, I can fucking have a song too. And so he just blatantly plagiarizes his song.
but
Because it's like, who who would call themselves Mr. Green Christmas?
I
You
know.
would think you would try to be more creative. So
Well,
that's always been my reasoning.
I never realized, living in the South, that it was just heat miser every year. That's the reason I don't have a
such
white Christmas.
child's understanding of weather. which makes sense. Which makes sense because
I'm just going to write old Santa Claus a letter and tell him, get Snow Miser to make me a white Christmas.
I would say if they were real, Heat Miser is currently kicking the shit out of
he's just
Snow Miser.
He finally he was just like, I'm tired of
Do you think he lobbied for like these companies to just like he's gone to the government like and the skies to lobby for less pollution control and like to like speed up global warming and climate change?
We find out the Illuminati, it's all run by Heat Miser.
Yeah. Because it seems like he's winning.
Oh, yeah. He's winning at the moment when it's
it was 70 degrees today.
5 days from Christmas and it's fucking like 60
5
degrees.
days from Christmas and it was a light spring afternoon.
Yeah, like, I'm out there like in a button up outside. That's it, just a long sleeve button up, still sweating.
You just got your hands on your hips staring at the sky and you're like, maybe those nerds were right about the weather. Oh man. You're looking at Link and you're just like, he's going to grow up in a world without Florida. And I hope that's the only, like, I'm hoping that's just the one catastrophe.
I just pray that, we're high above sea level right now.
Yeah,
well, we're going to, hey, in 20 years, Andrew, we're going to have beachfront property, brother.
That'd be, I'm all right with that. The old Lex Luthor plan to get a beachfront property.
Our property value's going to skyrocket.
Yeah. It probably won't matter at that point if oceans have reached our doorstep. I'm pretty sure property value will be the least of our worries.
The future generation's going to forget all about us. They'll just deal with the new normal.
Yeah, they'll figure it out.
Yep.
The people will find this relic and be like, wow, they were pretty, they hit the nail on the head with the hammer. Anyway, enough waffling about
Mom
the
and
horrors
Dad,
of the
what's
future
this?
and more.
Oh, son, that's an ancient relic from our past. It's called an iPhone.
Podcast.
It's called an iPhone 11.
Joel, how did this get made?
All right, Andrew. So you've already mentioned the wonderful production company, Rankin Bass. Hey, these people we have to thank for, honestly, all the Christmas, like most of the Christmas
basically
classics.
all the nostalgia Christmas specials that everyone likes because they've tried. We will talk about it briefly, but they've tried to make a more modern stop motion Christmas stuff. And it's like, it's weird. They really did. I can't remember what they called their version of stop motion animation, but they called it something that was, it was like a play on word of something. And you really feel it when you watch it versus other stop motion stuff.
Yeah.
The only people that do it better are the only people who still have their heart in it are the Wallace and Gromit people and whoever made Kubo and the Two Strings and Paranorman.
Those were good.
Those are, but other than that, Rankin Bass has always been like the standard.
Yeah.
And then like when they try to parody it and recreate it, you can just feel that like it's not the same.
No.
But yeah. They made a year without a Santa Claus yet again.
Yes. And this was actually based off of a book, Andrew.
Finally.
This one was.
Like Arthur Christmas should have been.
You'll be glad to know. So the book with the same title, that was written by Phyllis McGinley. Now, the story of how she kind of got this into a book was in 1956. She actually published a rhymed children's story called The Year Without a Santa Claus in Good Housekeeping magazine. The piece generated so much interest that she got a book on it the following year, and in 1968, the actor Boris Karloff recorded a narrated version of the story on a Capitol Records LP.
Nice.
From there, this thing just kind of blew up in popularity at that point. Rankin Bass doing what they do, making holiday specials.
Holiday magic.
Yes.
For ABC only.
That's it, Andrew. They released this on December 10th, 1974. So, I mean, what? Almost 20 years after the original magazine piece.
Yeah.
This actually, when it premiered on NBC. I'm sorry, ABC. ABC, sorry. It originally aired 1974 ABC, and it has ran annually on ABC, even up into this day, on Freeform during its 25 days of Christmas until 2017.
Oh, okay. And I know Rudolph is like 60 years old this year.
I actually thought that was pretty crazy that it's been running every year since 1970s.
Christmas is just the tradition holiday.
Yeah.
Like no other holiday really has as many national traditions as Christmas. And like this is one of them. Well, Rudolph is one of them. Nobody really cares about this movie other than the misers.
I think it's crazy that like Christmas, like foreign countries, like I know they celebrate it in Japan, like it really is like a holiday that people all over the world will celebrate. Like they make their own traditions to it. But to me, that's crazy because
like Japan gets a bucket of KFC every year for Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah, that's that. I know that's one of their Christmas traditions.
You got to get the Colonel on Christmas.
I think it's because Japanese people associate Colonel Sanders looks like Santa Claus.
I guess he kind of do.
If you were to tell a person this is how they draw Santa Claus in the South, and you drew a picture of the Colonel with no knowledge of American culture, I'm 100% sure they would believe you. They go, "Oh yeah, no, that checks out."
You know the whole joke was like the race that you're not, everybody of that race kind of looks the same.
That's
it's just
definitely
like, oh, this is a white guy. Like
I thought you were gonna make a joke about like Colonel Sanders, Santa, and the elves. And I was like, don't do that joke. But maybe
no. But no, I find it funny.
And for those of you who are wondering what joke I'm thinking of, just let's use some context clues here.
Just
and what are
the elves, Susanna? What would have been Colonel Sanders'
what
elves?
would the elves look like if they were working for the Colonel? There you go.
There you go.
They're all named Peter. Hint, hint, wink, wink.
Dots connected.
Yeah, there you go.
But that's really it. You know, there's really not too much to this. It was just that book or, the magazine article that then became a book and became popular, and Rankin Bass doing what they did at this time in their career or their lineage, just knocking out all the Christmas classic movies.
Absolutely.
So hit us with the voice actors, Andrew.
All right. So the voice cast for The Year Without a Santa Claus is Shirley Booth as Mrs. Santa in her last acting role.
Oh no,
This is
Shirley.
it. Mickey Rooney as Santa Claus. Still funny that he's
Mickey.
Santa Claus in all these. Dick Shawn is Snow Miser. George S. Irving is Heat Miser. And Bob McFadden is Jingle Bells and the Elf Doctor.
Nice.
For their other works, we have Shirley Booth is Hazel Burke in the TV series Hazel. Go ask, hopefully your great-great-grandpa is alive. I don't know.
Hey, Grandma, do you know who Shirley Booth is?
Mickey Rooney is Mr. Yanashi in Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Breakfast at
Dick
Tiffany's.
Shawn is Sylvester Marcus in It's a Mad, 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 Mad World.
Okay. That's a lot of mads.
George S. Irving is Geppetto in Pinocchio's Christmas.
Geppetto.
And Bob McFadden is Cool McCool in the TV series Cool McCool. So let's talk about The Year Without a Santa Claus.
Oh man.
And so we start with a Santa Claus who has a cold. He's kind of worn out, and he's just like, I don't think I'm going to do Christmas this year. I have a lot of questions about this, and maybe I'm putting too much thought into it. So, one, Santa's like, tell the presses, I'm not doing Santa Claus I'm not doing Christmas this year. I don't feel good. I'm sick. And quite frankly, I don't think anyone cares, including the elves who tell him nobody gives a shit about Christmas anymore, Santa. It would be fine if you took the year off.
Take
the
it
one
off.
doctor's like, no one cares.
Yeah.
Get some rest. And the first thing, so he tells the presses in the newspapers, run the story that Santa's taking the year off, and there are people who don't believe who Santa Claus is, even though he talks
To the press.
to the news. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, to the press. So it's like, nobody believes in Santa. I'm like, motherfucker, he just did an announcement.
It just goes to show you how deep rooted the distrust.
The distrust of the media. Oh, like Santa Claus is real. Okay.
Fake news.
That always trips me out about movies and stuff where Santa Claus is real and people are like, I don't believe in Santa. I'm like, who delivered those extra gifts then?
Yeah.
Did you get blackout drunk and go Christmas shopping and then were able to wrap them and put them under the tree?
I always love the ones that they're like, I've seen a couple of those Christmas movies where it's like, it shows the parents and they'll kind of like look at each other like, did you get this gift? Like, they are confused.
Yeah.
Because, like, if that happened in real life, where, like, your child opens a gift where you're like, where the hell did this come from? Like,
Yeah.
you would think, did someone break into our house?
In a post 9/11 world, Santa Claus would have a really tough time. He would have to almost come out publicly and say Santa Claus is real, because there's no way the government would allow him to break and enter. Look, the world government, the UN, he would have to be declared his own sovereign nation.
Oh my God,
Something.
Andrew. What if all those mysterious drones we are seeing in the sky?
They're Santa. Oh,
It would be like Arthur Christmas. He's just upping his game at this point.
that's true. I also love the theory that if you people just like they just don't talk about it, because if you catch Santa, he just kills you.
He's just like,
but
this is serious business, son.
go to sleep. It's just, and then they replace his kid with an elf, or the parents come down like, I told his ass he knows when he's sleeping. But so we go into the workshop, and this is where we meet our two main elves, Jingle Bells and Jangle Bells. Which poor Jangle. Jangle was definitely a second-born child.
Yeah. He was the twin that they did not know they was having.
They said, like, they don't say that they're brothers in this, but I feel like they have to be related.
That first boy came out and they're like, we're gonna call him Jingle Bells, and then the doctor's like, don't relax now, we got another one, and immediately they're like, what?
And then elves aren't very creative, so they're like, this one's Jangle.
Jangle Bells.
So they're kind of recruited by Mrs. Claus to, like, kind of go to a town and see, like, ask the people, drum up some Christmas joy, or, talk about Christmas and see what the people say. And then we can prove to Santa, Christmas is alive and well. But, and they take Vixen, a baby reindeer, and they're like, hey, be sure not to fly into the snow miser, heat miser territory, because they're always fighting. Yep. And that is the first thing that Vixen does.
Immediately.
They immediately gets caught in the crossfire of them fighting all the time.
Isn't that like any child? You tell them not to do something and they just immediately do it.
They immediately go do it. So, they end up in a southern town, and which I kind of appreciated. And they have to disguise Vixen as a dog. And Vixen's already having a bad time because she's not used to the heat of the South.
Yep.
I actually had a similar experience when my Nana visited me years ago when she was visiting from Canada. She came to my brother's graduation. So this was a long time ago. She came to my brother's graduation in the middle of June. And, I'm 2 years behind my brother. And she goes, I don't think I'm going to do this for you, Andrew. It is way too hot down here. Or it might have been May. It was around graduation time. Either way.
Yeah.
And so my Nana was like, it's hot. I'm not used to this. And so they come down and they talk to, first of all, Vixen gets caught by the dog catcher, and the elves don't carry money. They talk with Iggy, who is very influential to the story, but not really. I mean, Mrs. Claus says he is, but he's not, not really. They just kind of accidentally kidnap him. I feel like, or his parents are way cool with him tagging along with Mrs. Claus. I'm not really quite sure.
Well, this is like, man, this is 50s and 60s.
Yeah, this is the 70s. Yeah, there's not so much stranger danger. I'm just saying,
your kids will be gone
today,
for 2 days, and you'll be like, oh, you was missing?
Oh, you were gone? That's true. That's a very good point. I have to see this within the lens of which it was made. So they... But we're getting ahead of ourselves. So they go to the mayor, and they're just like, hey, can we have our dog back? And he goes, oh, you're trying to tell me that's a reindeer? A very southern mayor vibe. You're trying to tell me you're elves, and that's a reindeer, and you work for Santa Claus? Cut me a break. And they're like, we do. What could we do to prove to you that we're elves and that's a reindeer, and that you should just give us back our reindeer? He goes, I'll tell you what, Jingle and Jangle, if that is your real names, if you can make it snow down here in Dick's Southtown, US of A, I'll give you your deer. No questions asked.
No
it
questions.
Snowed here in 100 years. You think you're gonna make it snow? You think you stupid? And that's basically what the mayor says. And then Santa Claus shows up. Santa Claus shows up because Mrs. Claus finally is like, yeah, I sent Jingle and Jangle with Vixen. And Santa Claus is like, what the fuck are you talking about? You sent a baby and 2 elves to the South?
What the hell are you thinking?
Yeah, because what is it? The first thing they do is they get pulled over by the cop, and in true Southern cop fashion, he goes, y'all dressing funny, and that's a crime.
And that's a crime.
It's a crime to be different around here, and I don't like them pointy ears you guys got, so you're going to have to come back to the station.
You got some questions to be
You got some questions to answer. Ain't nobody ever ride on no daggone dog. Boop, boop, doo, 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 doo. Anywho, I'm from the South. I get to make fun of these people. I live and work next to them.
Good. Just bless their hearts. They're just good Southern people.
That's the funniest looking dog I've ever seen. So they're like, all right, well, we're going to have to go to Snow Miser.
Yeah.
And this is where Snow Miser, unprompted, he just knows that he's going to have guests, breaks out into a full song and dance.
Just immediately.
Company, places everyone.
Quickly places everyone.
I just like to think that he does that every time.
I like to think because, let's be honest, he's probably not getting a lot of guests living in an ice castle.
That's true. As an elemental god.
So
deity.
he is just so excited. He's like, we haven't had guests in 400 years. Quickly.
That's a very solid point. Of the two, it is the most solid of the song.
Oh, it's a great song.
So Mrs. Claus is like, I need you to make it snow in Southtown, USA. And he's like, well, I can't do that because that's Heat Miser's territory. And he will always turn my snow into rain. So you're going to have to go talk to him. And so they go to Heat Miser's territory to kind of convince him. And they're like, hey, he does his same song and dance, which is just a plagiarized version of Snow Miser's song, which is why it's not as good. Yeah. And also, he's Mr. Heat Blister. He's Mr. 101.
It just sounds awful.
Who everything about his song is unpleasant.
Who wants any of this?
I mean, it's the age old. You can only take off so much, but you can put on layers.
Exactly. You know? Hey, you can build a fire. Stay warm.
That's right. It's like a little heat goes a long way.
Yes.
It doesn't need to be 101 degrees. So
no one's getting comfortable in 101 degrees.
Can you please let it snow in Southtown, USA? And he's like, sure. All Snow Miser has to do is give me a little bit of his territory. Also, Heat Miser's not a big fan of Santa Claus to begin with. He's just like, oh, you guys are a giant commercial to promote my brother's snow.
Oh.
Which is true. Which is true. And he's like, let me melt all the snow in the North Pole, which would be a colossal disaster.
Oh no, the flooding.
And so they call Snow Miser and they're like, we've come to an agreement. And he sarcastically goes, what does the big hothead want? The North Pole? And she's like, yeah. And he goes, absolutely not. And they start to bicker and they start to argue. And Mrs. Claus is like, you know what? I'm telling your mom. And they're like, what? No. And so she goes to Mother Nature and she makes them do it. She's just like, you're going to let it be spring in the North Pole for a day. And you're going to let it snow in the South for a day. And this is all while Santa Claus is doing his whole side plot where he's like, he talks with Iggy's family, and he has this weird song that's like, I believe in Santa Claus the same way I believe in love. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not real. And God bless Mickey Rooney, but he can't carry a tune in a bucket, unfortunately. And I do not know why they keep making him sing in these songs, in these movies.
Those songs, I'm always tuning out whenever he's singing. They're just... You don't remember.
They're very.
Yeah, you don't remember.
Nobody remembers I believe in Santa Claus like I believe in love.
Yeah.
It's fine. And so eventually it kind of works out. And then the whole world notices that Santa needs a break. Except, and they do. They're like, okay, Santa, you know what? We're going to cut you some slack. We're going to give you a break. No, we don't need gifts. And then all the kids in the world join together and give him gifts, except for one little girl who writes him a letter that basically just guilt trips him into going back to delivering presents.
How dare you?
Because that's how I read that.
How dare you,
that
Santa?
little girl is just like, I'm going to have a blue Christmas without you, Santa, because I'm not going to have gifts or any other bullshit. I'm like, the man's breaking us back. He asked for one day off, and you wrote
One
him
day.
this sappy guilt trip letter.
One
Fuck
day.
you, little kid. That little kid made me angry. I did not. Santa Claus apparently has a better heart than me, which makes a lot of sense because this immediately revitalizes him to be like, Christmas is actually back on, which I guess everybody assumed he was going to back out of his day off anyway, because they were all pretty ready to go
Yeah.
by the time. But that's pretty much the movie. It's 50 minutes. I'm sure you can catch it on ABC if it hasn't been on it already. You can rent it, which why? Or you can find it on Internet Archive or Daily Motion, which is where I watched it and Joel watched his.
Yeah.
But Joel, I believe it's time for your reoccurring segment, reviews that bring the heat and reviews that stay cool.
Ooh, nice one, Andrew.
Thank you. Thank you.
How long you been working on that one for?
I didn't really think about it until just now.
Off the fly. Nice.
Off the cuff. I'm shooting by the hip with these things. Why do you think most of them are bad?
So this is sitting at a 7.7 out of 10 with a 12,000 basically reviews on it.
Okay.
So there are no 1-star reviews. I mean, I get that this is kind of a Christmas classic.
Right. So this is always going to hold a little bit of a nostalgia, kind of thing.
Yeah, like I feel like that's something I've noticed with these Christmas classics is if you don't like it, you just kind of don't pay attention to it.
You don't watch it.
Yeah.
Like you're just like, oh, they're playing this one, I'll skip this one.
Exactly. So this is a 10 out of 10 titled Great.
Okay.
Hey, Tony.
That's it. That's the whole.
Just great. It's actually written by Tony the Tiger. He's just like, he's like
nice.
product placement in the reviews.
Very weird.
Yep. I love Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, but no matter what, The Year Without a Santa Claus will always remain as my favorite Rankin Bass Christmas special. The Miser Brothers are great. It's extremely charming, and I'd argue the best animation out of all the Rankin Bass specials. If you love Christmas and the Rankin Bass specials like me, then I request you give this a watch. So just nothing but love for this
Nice. Okay.
one. But that's it, Andrew. That is the reviews.
I know what you're thinking, Joel.
What am I thinking, Andrew?
You're thinking, you know what? I love A Year Without a Santa Claus. I wonder what it would look like if it were a live action remake of A Year Without a Santa Claus.
Get out of my head. Get out of my head right now.
Like and it would look even better if it felt like it was a very bad high school stage play.
Oh, yes.
Well, you're in luck. In 2006, they premiered The Year Without a Santa Claus live action starring John Goodman as Santa Claus. Technically, his second time playing Santa Claus outside of Robot Santa from Futurama.
Okay, yeah.
Now, we will be covering this in a bonus episode. So if you want to listen to our review of the live action one, be sure to subscribe to our Patreon. It should be out before Christmas.
And it just blew my mind that John Goodman is playing that Santa Claus. I cannot wait.
He must have been on the Roseanne contract at the time or something.
Must
I don't know.
have been.
Now, Joel, I know what else you're thinking.
Oh, all right.
You're thinking those Miser brothers. They're the coolest and best characters of all time.
Especially that snow miser.
Wouldn't it be great if they had a soulless, without any imagination sequel to A Year Without a Santa Claus with probably worse stop motion effects?
I can only
you're
hope.
in luck.
Yes.
In 2008, they produced a Miser Brothers Christmas that also premiered on ABC, and we we'll probably be covering it next week. So I hope you're ready for more miser madness as we go into more detail about this one, because this one is less known than the other one.
Great.
With that being said, I believe this wraps up the year without a Santa Claus. Joel, what are your closing thoughts?
I understand why it's a Christmas classic. It is not going to be added to my list of Christmas classics. But hey, I understand it. It's just not my cup of tea at this point.
This is my favorite one, I think I would say.
Really?
Yes, I would say this. Out of all the Rack and Bass ones, this is my favorite because I just love the Snow Miser song. I'll probably be singing it a lot this week.
It could be the best Rankin Bass, but I don't think any of those stuff is on my Christmas classic.
I got you. Well, that was the year without a Santa Claus. If you would like to support the show so you can listen to our bonus episodes, go to patreon.com/cartoondd. There we have a $5 tier that gets you stickers, pins, bonus episodes, and episodes with extended audio. We have a website where you can go visit our store or make a request. It's cartoondumpsterdive.com. We have a X and a Blue Sky, Cartoon DD on both, and we are Cartoon Dumpster Dive on every other podcasting platform. And as always, we thank you for a 5-star review on the podcasting platform of your choice, because I've been trying to figure out a way to sing like a podcast song this entire time, and I can't do it. But whatever you touch turns to a 5-star review in your clutch. Have a great rest of your week.
See you.
Or no, I guess a great weekend, depending on when this comes out. Have a Merry Christmas.
Take care.
See ya. Bye.
Ho, ho, ho.
This has been a Lug Hole podcast.